In what order should you learn the most popular violin concertos? If we haven't met, hi, I'm Megan. I'm a violinist and teacher. I've been playing the violin for over 20 years. I have my bachelor's and master's degrees in violin performance, and I'm currently Suzuki trained through Book 7. If you're enjoying my videos, the biggest thing that you can do is just smash that subscribe button. And if you're interested in working with me more closely, you can check out the description for all the different ways to do so. The concertos that I'll be talking about in this video are for upper intermediate to advanced players. So these are going to be the standard violin concertos. If you are a beginner or early intermediate player, I actually already did another video on violin concertos for you that I will leave linked in the description so you can check that out. The list that I'm going to give here is based on my own personal experience, and I am by no means saying that this is the one way or the only way or the right way to learn these concertos. I'm using my experience as a student and a teacher. I started playing these concertos in middle school, and it's never stopped. I also think that us mere mortals, aka us that are not Hilary Hahn, there's just simply not enough time to learn every single standard violin concerto to the highest level. For me, it takes me probably about a year to really polish and learn a full concerto. So you have to pick and choose the ones that are most important to you. So first up, we have the Bach A minor concerto. I think this is the first quote-unquote standard concerto that students learn. Some students also prefer or also learn the Bach E major, but I think the Bach A minor is the most standard. I played this sometime in middle school. I want to say maybe like 7th or 8th grade, and it's actually in Suzuki Book 7. After the Bach A minor, the next concerto that I played was Accolay. So I think the Accolay is great for a lot of different reasons. One, it's pretty short. It's only one movement. It's between 4 to 6 pages depending on the version that you're looking at. And it has a lot of different techniques. It has slow sections, fast sections, spiccato, double stops. It really has it all. I played the Accolay when I think I was in 9th grade, and I remember going to a music camp, and at that time I was already thinking about becoming a professional violinist, and I remember one of the teachers putting me down because I was only playing the Accolay. Well, look where I am now. I've had a couple students now play the Accolay, and I think it's a really fun piece. After Accolay, I suggest learning Mozart 3. Some students might find that Mozart 3 is maybe technically quote-unquote easier than the Accolay because it just has like less different techniques in it, if that makes sense. But what makes Mozart hard is the style. You have to be so precise, you have to have a beautiful, crisp, clear sound. All of your notes have to be in tune. And I will say, the cadenza for Mozart 3, much harder than the main concerto in my opinion. So that's definitely something to consider. Also here, if you prefer to play Mozart 4 or Mozart 5, I think they're pretty comparable in level, so you could easily switch that out. Mozart 3 is probably a little easier though. Other concertos that are around the same difficulty as Mozart 3 are the Kabalevsky and the Konus concertos. These are a little bit lesser known, but they're both wonderful pieces. I've never played the Kabalevsky, but I did play the Konus my first year in undergrad, and I think it's a great, not like intro concerto, but like semi-standard concerto that's on the easier side. After Mozart 3, I personally started to play the Bruch. I begged my teacher to let me play the Bruch, and I was so excited when she said yes. I also actually got to play in the orchestra for this piece with Itzhak Perlman as the soloist in my final year of my master's, which was really cool. The first movement of the Bruch is pretty short, right? It's only like a little over 3 pages, which is nice. There are some tricky bowings, some chromatic sections, a lot of chords. The second movement really isn't too terribly difficult. The third movement is the one that always got me because of the double stops and the tenths. But it's also my favorite movement, so go figure. Another concerto that people usually play around this stage, but I didn't personally play it, is Wieniawski 2. Again, I don't have personal experience with it, so I'm not entirely sure, but I remember some of my friends playing it, and they said it wasn't too hard, except for those fingered octaves. If you know, you know. After the Bruch, I recommend playing Saint-Saëns 3. Again, it's on the shorter side, and I think it has a really awesome melody. It also sounds super impressive. It's like one of those, it's like it sounds harder than it is. I mean, not to say it's not hard, because it is, but it sounds really impressive for the level of difficulty that it is. After Saint-Saëns, I recommend playing Lalo. Again, it's not too long. I think the first movement is maybe like 3 or 4 pages. It does have some runs and some like high jumps on the E string, but it also has like a really unique Spanish flair, which I think makes it really fun. Also, yes, it does have 5 movements, but like for me personally, I only played the first movement. The first movement is the most standard and it's the most robust. So if you don't have time to play all 5 movements, I think it's fine. After Lalo, I suggest playing Mendelssohn. This is actually what I played when I was a senior, and I played this with 2 orchestras, and I also used it for my college auditions. It's really manageable, honestly, technically, after you've played all of the rest of the concertos that I've already mentioned. The hardest thing with Mendelssohn, like Mozart, is the style. You have to have such a specific, clean sound. Your intonation has to be spot on. And for me personally, I remember really struggling with the ricochet part in the cadenza. After Mendelssohn, I played the Khachaturian. I feel like this isn't maybe the most well-known concerto, but it has a really iconic opening. The reason why I put it a little bit lower on the list is just to do with like its tonal language. You know, Khachaturian was Armenian, so think like Shostakovich type vibes, when really all of the rest of the concertos that I've laid out so far are more like German or Italian. It's just a very different tonal language, which is why I think it's a little bit harder. I think comparable to Khachaturian is also Vieuxtemps 5. I never personally played this, but I know a lot of people that played this before getting into the really big concertos coming next. So at this point, I think you've tackled all of the like easier, quote unquote, because none of them are easy, right? Like more standard concertos, and you're ready to get into the big leagues, quote unquote. For me personally, my order was Tchaikovsky, Sibelius, Korngold. Yes, it's only 3. That's all I had time to learn. Like I said, they each took me like a year. Plus, I really spent 2 years on Tchaikovsky because I prepared it for auditions. And honestly, the reason why I played Tchaikovsky first is just because it was my favorite, because I loved it. It is extremely long, okay? So if you're looking for something shorter, maybe go with like Sibelius or like Beethoven. I think Beethoven's a really good first, like more standard concerto, just because like it's not easy, but like one of the hardest things about Beethoven is the style. And the hardest things about Tchaikovsky and Sibelius and Brahms are like, you know, the double stops and the chords and the shifting and all that stuff. Not to say Beethoven doesn't have that, okay? But he's just a little bit more tame with his writing, you know? Other popular ones are, of course, like the Prokofiev concertos. I personally like number 2 the best. And after you've played like these more like standard, like Tchaikovsky, Brahms, Beethoven, those, then I recommend going into the more like 20th, 21st century ones like Shostakovich, and the one that I personally played was Korngold. Again, at this point, like, you're good. You know how to play the violin. You can pick and choose, you know, at your preference on what you want to play. So that is my suggestion for concerto order for upper, intermediate to advanced players. I will leave a link in the description to a PDF of this if you're interested so that you can download it for free. Please double check to make sure you're subscribed. I really can't tell you how much that helps me, and thank you for watching.